Marrakesh and some of the other inland cities, it can be 100 or over 100. And most of those families will always try and get their holidays now and come up to the coasts of Morocco, whether it's Dik, the same little town we're driving through now, Tangier or other places along the Atlantic coast or the Mediterranean coast. You see some of the commercial establishments and eating establishments carrying some Spanish names right in there. A few Spanish families living here. ولكن هو ما عنده شي ضرب. عندي داري عندك دارك عنده ضرب. Je n'ai pas ma maison, mais... Non, j'ai ma maison, mais lui n'a pas la sienne. Il n'a pas sa maison. Dari, Puerto Rico. Dari is where?
Dari.
Spain is Sandalia. Au Maroc, on ne dit pas Sandalia, Saidalia. Ils disent pharmacie aussi. Pharmacie.
Alors si je dis Buena Saidalia, vous comprendre.
Pas n'importe qui.
Oui, d'accord. Pas le peuple.
Pas le peuple. Il y a beaucoup de gens qui appellent, c'est les sandales Sandalia. Sandalia, pour la plupart, c'est les sandales.
C'est bien ça, hein. Et mes compliments, monsieur. Vous êtes très fort.
D'accord, non. Il n'y a pas. Les très forts n'existent pas. And cleaned them of their dirhams, considering that today is a Sunday and the banks are closed. If that's the case, then you can always pay for your drink with pesetas or dollars, whatever the currency you have is. Past the desk, still on the left-hand side, you have the restrooms, both gents and ladies. Those who don't want to go to the counter to change any money, to the right there is the bar for a drink, coffee, beer, whatever. This is a country, Morocco, which serves alcohol, and Moroccans are allowed to drink alcohol. I told you very briefly as we were leaving the border post that this is considered to be one of the most liberal Muslim countries in the Arab or the Muslim world. So they have beer there, they have wines and coffees and cokes and orange pop, etc. We stop here normally 15 to 20 minutes at the most. Let me just put it this way, the quicker we are getting back on the bus, the quicker we'll be able to get into our hotel in Fez today. As I told you, we'll have about 4.5 to 5 hours between here and Fez, and it's a windy and sometimes quite bumpy road. So the more time we save, the better off we'll be getting into Fez today, later today. You leave your things on the bus, and if you like, quickly follow me and I'll show you the entrance to the hotel, where everything is. N'Djamena became the capital of culture in this country when the Merenid dynasty took over, Merenid dynasty from Fez, took over and decided to have a city in the northern part that would be the capital of culture, handicraft and learning. And that's when it was chosen to become the city. It has won the role it played until today. That was in the 13th, 14th century, Tetuan. Then again in the 1912, when Morocco were to become Spanish colony in the north and French in the south. This happened as the outcome of a conference that was held in the same city of Fez where the French, the Spanish, and the Moroccans sat down across is mandatory, is compulsory between the ages of 7 and 15. Morocco, ladies and gentlemen, is a country which, because of its geographic situation, has been chosen to become a colony of sunflower and civilization ever since the beginning of times. All those historians who have tried very hard, putting in a lot of effort and time to try and find out the origins, have found that man or people lived in Morocco as far back as the prehistoric times. 5,000 years ago, Morocco was isolated from the rest of the continent when the savannas and the high plains which were south of Morocco were to become all of a sudden, slowly, all of a sudden, however, become the Sahara as we know it today. It was isolated, and this is again why you find in this country a multitude, a variety of races. People here, the Berbers as they are called, B-E-R, that's the name of the original inhabitants of Morocco, a term which was given to the people here first by the Greeks, then by the Arabs when they arrived here in the year of 705. If we go only back to about 3,000 years, the Phoenicians came to Morocco, and then after a while they were replaced by the descendants, the Carthaginians. Talking about the Phoenicians, on the last day when we drive out of the city of Rabat on the way to Tangiers, we'll be driving past one of the ruins of a city who used to be called Lixus, where the Romans also stayed until they were defeated or had to leave Morocco in the 4th century. And that's in a city called Marash. After the Carthaginians, the Romans left one of the major Roman ruins in the world today, called Volubilis. Only about 26 miles or 26 kilometers away from the third capital we visited on our last day when we drive out of Fez towards Rabat, called Meknes. The major invasion, it says also in the history books that regardless what this country was occupied by whom, it has always managed to keep its personality intact. Phoenicians, Carthaginians, Romans did not leave much influence on did not really leave any changes in the way of life of the original inhabitants of Morocco. But the major invasion that was really to change the personality of this country occurred in the year of 705 when the Arab troops arrived here after having done all of Libya, northern Africa, and finally arriving here. It started all in Arabia. When Islam was born in 600, beginning of the 7th century, the wars were first organized, first in the neighboring countries, convert everyone into Islam and Arabs. And with more ambition and determination, the same troops decided to come over here. They came all the way to the northern part of the continent. As a matter of fact, they stopped in the city of Tangiers after having arrived to where the ocean was. They didn't know there was an ocean there. They came, and instead of stopping there, they, 6 years later, sailed to the Rock of Gibraltar, finally the southern coast of Spain, and even France. They even tried to go up to Poitiers, where they were defeated by a French general, Martel. And they did not really stop them altogether. Then they went down to the southern part of province of Spain and stayed there almost 800 years until the end of the 15th century, at the end of which they were defeated by the Christians of Spain and they had to come back over here. But the change to the personnel in 1982 after the census of 1982. 25 million inhabitants, which can be rounded up a little bit as then when the census was organized and run by the staff of the government and the state, it was realized that a great deal of people had not really showed up for the census. So it's up to the individual to actually put the figure up a little bit. So 25 million inhabitants, 1982, let's say 30 million, roughly. 2/3 of those 30 million inhabitants live outside the cities, in the farms. Ethnically speaking, Morocco is officially an Arabic country, with Arabic as its official language, and French as its second official language. The King of Morocco, His Majesty the King Hassan II, is a doctor of law from the University of Bordeaux, and 4 of the 10 published newspapers in this country are done or published or edited in the French language. So French is very much still alive, even though the country has been independent ever since beginning of the year 1956. And the French influence in this country, even though the French occupied Morocco for over 40 years, there's no hard feelings between the French and the Moroccans. Not only that, but even if you were to venture into the Moroccan society, when it is at its best when it comes to wealth, especially when the Moroccan families belong to the upper class of the Moroccan society, you always notice that French is spoken very much between the members of the same family. The same can apply to northern Morocco. If you will again, today you arrive to Tangier and speak to some people, or some Tangerines as you call them, you'll be able to notice that Spanish is very much alive. The same way French is alive in the southern part of the Kingdom of Morocco. French has the dominion or the controlling power in the northern part of Morocco, with Spain remained until the same time, 18th of November 1955. So the economy of the country, ladies and gentlemen, with 2/3, 65% of Moroccans living outside, is basically an economical economy, an agricultural economy, with 2/3 of active Moroccans making a living from agriculture every year. This is why building reservoirs has been one of the major things on the agenda of this country when it became independent in 1956. Rains do not always come, and everybody depends on the rain, when the rain falls. They're not the Berbers, by the way. These ladies walking here. One man riding the donkey and 5 ladies walking behind him. It's got nothing to do with inflation either. This is the custom up here in this part of the Kingdom of Morocco. Now, like I said, a country which has 25 million inhabitants, ethnically speaking, as far as races go, you have a multitude of races. When the country became isolated from the rest of the continent, when the Sahara was born 5,000 years ago with the drying up of the savannas in the area, those races who had arrived there, remained there, giving it the color and the diversity you find in it today. People arrived here from Central Africa, from Asia, from Northern Europe, from Scandinavia. So the Berbers, when we talk about the Berbers of Morocco, we're talking about a variety of Berbers. And these Berbers still, to some extent, have their own traditional habits or traditions which they brought with them from their respective countries when they arrived in Morocco, whenever they did arrive in Morocco, because historians don't seem to have found out exactly the dates of arrivals of the different races. Now you have blonde, blue-eyed, Caucasian Berbers, you have black Berbers, you have Asiatic-looking Berbers, all kinds, all the races that are known to the globe can be found in here. And what I wanted to say is that you saw the man riding the donkey and the ladies walking behind him. This is not something which can be generalized for the rest of the Kingdom of Morocco. This is one Berber race which is believed to have arrived from northern Europe, from northern Spain, from the Basque area. And they wear, you see them, the ladies normally wear red and white striped skirts. They have huge belts around the waist and these towels around the shoulders and these huge hats on their heads to keep them cool now during the summer, and of course during the winter times when the rains fall, then they wear them also to keep them dry. And this particular race of the Berbers does work this way. When a man, for instance, is driving or walking to the market like those people were doing, they rode into the city of Tetuan to do their business, to sell their animals, to sell their produce, to buy a few things and come back home. Then if there's a family of 2, a man and his wife, there's only one donkey involved, one mule, and the man rides and the lady walks behind. This is not really general, as I said, for the rest of the kingdom, because you do find in the Middle Atlas the Moroccans, the Berbers, who will ride with their wives, and their wives will ride first rather than them. So this is only to illustrate the statement we just made. People arriving from different parts of the world, bringing their own customs with them, which are still alive today in this country, when it represents or presents itself to you in its face, original, traditional face. Rarash on our last day driving out to the city of Tangier. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Morocco became an international zone in the year of 1923. It was chosen to become or have a special status of an international zone with its own government. It wasn't a government, it was a commission of 6 nations that ran its affairs. It had its own border, its own passport. Anybody coming from Tangier to Rabat to visit an auntie or a cousin had to have their passport stamped a few times. Leaving Tangier, enter in Spanish Morocco, leaving Spanish Morocco and enter in French Morocco. Of course, the state of things was stopped when the country finally became independent on the 18th of November 55. That's the river down below on the right-hand side. The type of construction you find around here also is found only in the hills with the apex roofs, the metal, the galvanized metal, and also near the city of Tangier in northern Morocco. The type of construction was introduced to the area by the Romans. To their respective farms. It's market day today, just near the post, the customs post. And just before it gets dark, they always time it to get back home before it gets dark. So the departure from the market or a market day always depends on the seasons. As the days go longer or shorter, the time of departure will be earlier. A lot of fruits here, apples, figs, and again, men riding and women walking behind. You've seen that. If you see a man walking and the lady riding, that's what you normally say. It means that the lady wears the pants in the house, and she's the boss. This is only, as I said before, found only in the farming communities where the country has really followed the trend of the westernization of Moroccan society. In the cities, as I said, Moroccan woman plays a different role altogether from the lady out in the farms. Yes, the Muslim law in this country, for the Muslim Moroccans only, allows them to marry up to 4 wives. This again goes back to the beginning of Islam, as I told you, when the faith was to be spread in the neighboring countries first, and then as far as possible. A lot of death casualties will be registered, a lot of wives were left behind, and children without any fathers to take care of them. This eventually became a social problem. The only solution that was found to it then, through the book, the Holy Book of Islam, the Quran, was to allow the man to remain in bands and marry up to 4 wives through holy matrimony. In other words, the plausible solution was found to a problem that was becoming more and more acute at the time. And the same rule has stayed in the Muslim world until today. But for any man thinking or even wondering to marry or thinking about marrying more than 1 wife, he has to meet 3 basic conditions, however. The conditions are dictated and rated in the book. And the first one is, the first condition to be met by any man willing to marry the 4 wives is to have money. Plenty of financial means to support the wife or wives or their children, etc. The second condition is to allow the ladies to decide how they want to live, how they want to accommodate themselves. If they want to live in the same house and have separate quarters, or if they want to live in separate homes. That's a condition or a choice which the gentleman, the prospective husband, has got to honor and respect. Whatever the outcome might be, he has to honor it. And this is normally done in front of the judge, religious judge. This in Morocco, in the case of this country, you have 2 types of judges. You have religious judges, which normally only take care of matters coming from the faith. Then you also also have another type of judge, which is the civil judge, or the civilian judge, which normally takes care of civil matters with European laws, the same laws introduced to Morocco by the French and the Spanish in the year 1912. So this is what the judge, the man will have to go to for marriage, is of course the religious judge. So if the man has got money and the ladies, let's say, the third condition, however, let me not forget the third condition, I said first money, then the right of the ladies to choose how they want to live, and the third condition is for the man to promise to the same judge that he will not use any type of favoritism to any of his wives. He has to keep just and fair to all of them. And any type of favoritism that can be detected could be picked up or used as grounds for divorce if the ladies choose to do so. So, no favoritism whatsoever. Three,
La gente se casa menos y menos. Claro. Y dice que no, la familia le obliga, pero bueno, ¿cómo?
a la familia puede obligar.
Sí, eso es porque, pero no. Le van a obligar
La familia si él quiere.
Pero luego viene el divorcio, el balea, la familia dice, ¿o te casas bien o no te casas? A casarte porque tienes que casar. Él es muy, tú me entiendes. Tú le conoces a él es de la familia, él es pragmático, claro, y le va chondeo, que hablo de usted, claro, entonces a él le va la vida y encima, cada viene la tía y la haces tú aquí, a la casa. Y me ha jodido. Así porque hay que casarse porque viene la cosa, le gusta lo otro y es la cosa fuerte, pero casarse así con las buenas. Tú has dicho que a las 8.